my name is Angel and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited for this vlog. I will be reading Arthurian Retellings, which I guess I'm using that loosely. It's more like reimaginings, anything to do with these characters from these stories, the medieval setting, things like that. I'm so excited for the TBR for this video. It is both young adult books. Sorry, my lamp is... You okay over there? It's flickering. Both are young adult. The first one is Once and Future. We've got two authors with this one, Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy. And look at this cover. This one, I can already tell, I have started it. I'm about 30 pages through. I can already tell it's a very polarizing read. You either love it or hate it, and that's because we are getting some humor in this that I feel like some readers won't enjoy, but I'm happy to say that I'm enjoying it so far. This one is different for me in that this is sci-fi. We have going to different planets, things like that going on, and our King Arthur here is a teenage girl. This one is so different to the other retellings I've read, so let me read off the synopsis for you. Ari Helix has been running her whole life. A fugitive refugee in the territory controlled by the tyrannical Mercer Corporation, she's always had to hide who she was. Until now, when Ari crash lands on Old Earth and pulls a magic sword from its ancient resting place, she is revealed to be the 42nd reincarnation of King Arthur, and that is the part that I just got to. The wizard Merlin has been waiting for centuries for a king who can break the curse that's aged him backward into a teenager. He's trained dozens of Arthurs over the centuries, but never a girl. Could Ari finally be the one? Ari wants nothing to do with Merlin's talk of quests and knights and dragons. She just wants to use her new power to find a way home. But the Mercer Corporation has been hiding a terrible, world-destroying secret, and it will do anything to stop her from uncovering the truth. Doesn't that sound so cool? And the fighting a corporation. Let's go, girl. I am so excited. I also loved, this is a James Patterson Presents book, and he has a little note for why he picked this one, and I just love it here. I love how he is saying that he loves the elements and that this retelling envisions King Arthur as an immigrant teenage girl. And he says, Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy have written an Arthur for the 21st century, a female king on a quest to overthrow a tyrannical corporate government. And I'm like, yes, I cannot wait. This is, I believe, a duology, so one book after this. I don't own it because I don't know if I'm going to like this, so I hope I do. Of course I hope I do, so we'll be reading this, and then if I love it, I'll pick up the next one, of course, but I gotta see if I like it first. I plan to read it physically, but I do have the audiobook on loan from my library. Not sure how I feel about the narrator yet. I listened to a few minutes of it, and I can't tell if I like her voice or not. Nothing wrong with her. It's not like her voice is annoying me or things like that. I guess it's when I have a book that has certain humor, I need the things to be read off a certain way. And if it's not read that way to me, if that makes any sense, then the joke doesn't land. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to like the audiobook. I will listen to it a little bit more and see what I think. But as of right now, I plan to read this physically. Next book that I have on this TBR is Half Sick of Shadows by Laura Sebastian. This is the Book of the Month copy. I've had this for a while, since 2021, and I haven't read it. I'm excited for this. This one is a feminist take on The Lady of Shalott, which I recently reread that poem. Very depressing. I'm looking forward to this take, and I will dive more into the synopsis and how I'm feeling, of course, once I've started the book. For now, my focus is on Once and Future, and I think I've just about used all the daylight I have today. I picked up the camera as soon as I logged off from work in the hopes that I would have some natural lighting to go off of, but for the rest of the night, I plan to read Once and Future, make and eat dinner, things like that. Once I've made some progress, I'll come back on and update you, but thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope you enjoy. Let's get started. I am about halfway through Once and Future, and I owe you an update. First, a little bit about the authors. I learned that they are actually a couple, and they've done a lot of awesome stuff for queer youth and making queer stories accessible, so I really love to learn that. And of course, in this story, I'm loving the diversity and positive queer representation that we're getting. Also, that the overall tone is hopeful, even though we are dealing with a huge, awful corporation called Mercer that has literally put a barrier blocking off a planet called Ketch and its people, and forced a common language and consumer culture on everyone else. There's still this hope that everything is going to be okay because our characters aren't going to just sit around and take it. They are going to make change happen. So I'm loving to see that. I'm finding all of the characters easy to root for, which I love so much, and I am feeling an emotional attachment to all of them, but mainly Ari, our main character, who is the 42nd reincarnation of Arthur. Merlin is awake now that Excalibur has been pulled by Ari, a teen girl from Ketch, and he is trying to understand the time period that he's ended up in. In doing so, he does make some pop culture references that are funny, to me at least. I'm finding it easy to spot who is who from Arthurian legend because the names, if they're not nicknames that are easy to spot, they are the exact name from the legend, except for one character so far, I believe. So that's been fun to pick out who is who, the character traits, things like that. And Merlin helps us as well, guides us along because he is discovering things as he goes along. So I'm loving his perspective as well. I had to write down in my notes app on my phone a couple of quotes that I've loved so far. The first one is on page 118. It says, "A government that cannot handle criticism cannot handle governing." And another one on page 130, "Too many people believe that difference is the enemy of unity." So true, sis. So true. I don't typically read sci-fi, but I am finding this to be an entertaining, fresh, and quick read. I did give the audiobook another shot, but unfortunately I wasn't vibing with the narrator. I would rather just voice these characters in my head. I'm having much more fun that way. So that's what I'm going to continue doing, is reading it physically. I cannot wait to finish this book, and as long as it keeps going like it is, I'm really, really enjoying it and think it's a solid read. So excited about that. I will update you when I finish the book. I have officially finished Once and Future, and I really, really liked it. So much that I immediately ordered the sequel, and it's already been delivered. Sword in the Stars. I cannot wait to continue and finish this duology, but first let me give you my review of Once and Future. Everything that I said I was loving in my first full update of this book continued through the last half, which I'm so happy to see. It was consistent in its delivery. I loved the way it ended. It makes you immediately want to dive into the sequel. Definitely felt for that and immediately ordered it, like I said, so I cannot wait. This book won't be for everyone. I can't say I recommend it to everyone, but if you find that you are rating books the same way as me and you like the comedy where, I don't even know what kind of comedy you would say this is, but it's kind of like something obvious and sarcasm, of course. The main criticism I'm seeing of this book is the pace. And I agree that the pace is super fast. Some things are, I wouldn't say glossed over, but you get one sentence and then it's happened and then you move on. That being said, there's a lot going on in this that the authors are trying to achieve, and I think they achieve it with that one sentence. I don't think they need to go on and on. So I personally love the length. There are plenty of other huge books that are slower in pace where you get a lot more character dynamics and character focus that you can read. If you want a quick queer sci-fi space story, Arthurian reimagining, pick this up. And yes, it is YA, but I was so pleased to see that it didn't dumb anything down. It wasn't like it was speaking down to someone or glossing over things. I didn't feel like it was making teenagers out to be children, basically. They're still teenagers. They have hormones. They're living life. They're also put in this crazy situation, and they've been dealing with this corporation ruining everyone's lives. I love, too, that this is a queer reimagining, so we're getting critique also of the original legends, of course, because at the end of the day, they are trying to unify things, make things the same, which is what we're critiquing with this, with the corporation. I love seeing that. This is such a great, fresh take. I'm surprised that this has so few ratings, so few people reading it, because this is really fun. I don't remember many people talking about this years ago when it first came out, and I'm glad that I bought it the day that I did, and I'm finally reading it for this vlog. I really enjoyed it. Can't wait to read the sequel. There were moments when I was covering my mouth, gasping. I was shocked. The twists were so good. These authors went where I didn't expect them to. And that's what I mean when it's like, it doesn't feel like typical YA. They're definitely subverting the norms of YA with this. Characters, and to be more specific, I mean, characters are having sex, and you know that they are. The twist, and it still sticks with Arthurian legend, which is dark. Don't get me wrong, it is dark. Even the takes that are for children to read, they're dark. So I love that this book didn't shy away from it. And yeah, and also, like, not to be weird or anything, or say that these are kids or younger teenagers. No, they're older teenagers. They're like, I still count 18 and 19 as teenagers, let's be honest, because you are still young. And I have no clue what that sound was. But yeah, just keep that in mind. Like, I mean, older teenagers, young adults. Let's just say young adults. But I loved it. I'm so happy I read it. I am getting over my fear of books written by multiple authors. First with reading the My Lady Jane books, and now with reading this. So I'm proud of myself for that. Also getting over my fear of sci-fi with this. Really loved it. I should also give you an update on Half Sick of Shadows, because I'm a little over halfway actually, really enjoying it, and I've got on my Lady of Shalott shirt today. I love this shirt. I love this shirt so much. This is from Hot Topic, and it's just a mesh shirt that you could wear any season, honestly. I love it. I wanted to do my makeup to look like it at paintings because this is so beautiful. I should probably actually grab the book to give you the update, so one moment. And I am back with the book. So again, this is the Book of the Month edition, and I don't have the dust jacket, but you know the book I'm talking about, Half Sick of Shadows by Laura Sebastian. I am actually right over halfway through, and I was reading this and thinking the writing style reminds me of an author, but I could not place the name. And this is where blurbs can be extremely helpful, when advanced praise can be extremely helpful, because someone had said, like Madeline Miller, and I was like, yes, that is the author. Madeline Miller wrote Circe, which I haven't read yet, but she also wrote The Song of Achilles. And I love that book. 5 out of 5 stars. So emotional. Also, I think this video is coming out after Pride Month, but happy Pride Month to everyone. You are loved by me, by others, I'm sure. If you have not found your community yet, you will. I promise you, you will, because there are several people out there looking for a community like you are, and you are loved for being yourself. Always be yourself. Always stand up for right is right. Back to this book. All right, so I'm really loving this. The writing style is like Madeline Miller, so if you love her books, you will enjoy this. I love that. Unlike Once and Future, which has an extremely fast pace, action after action, this is a slower pace, and we're getting flashbacks. They are expertly woven in the story in the present tense. Some authors can't do flashbacks. And as a writer myself, I struggle with flashbacks. I really do. Laura Sebastian, you've got this down. I love it. The flashbacks flow seamlessly. Elaine, who is the Lady of Shalott here, is taking over her story, and it is so awesome to see. She can see the future, but she can't talk about it, of course. She also doesn't know exactly how or if she can change it. She just knows that she'll see possibilities. If all those possibilities are awful, but she sees one possibility that's good and hopeful, then she has to hope for that good possibility to happen. And that creates such tension. puts you on the edge of your seat because, or at least me, I'm wanting to know what's going to happen. I love Elaine, and I love Morgana in this. Morgana is such an amazing character. In every legend, people portray her differently, of course. A lot of times she is portrayed as evil, or you see her descent into evil, or depending on how you see her, she may not be evil at all to you. I am loving the portrayal of Morgana in this and the friendship that she has with Elaine, especially where I'm at in the book. Everything is slowly coming together. It's like a puzzle. The flashbacks also work so well because Elaine is able to have visions, able to see glimpses of the future, and she's tying this into her past and into her past visions, what she's seen so far. We get scenes in Avalon with Nimue, who is the Lady of the Lake, and then we also get the scenes in Camelot and around Camelot in all of Albion. Is that how I've been saying Albion, but correct me if I'm wrong. And I love it so far. I will probably actually finish this today because it is Sunday today, and I'm finding this book so easy to read. Something that I'm loving about both of these books is the short chapters. You will get me to continue reading if your chapters are short, I promise you. Even if I'm not really enjoying the book, not the case here, but even if I'm not enjoying the book, I will be reading it if those chapters are short. But these books could not be more different from each other. This is more about characters, specifically Elaine, and giving her agency, breaking the stereotype, showing women as fully fleshed human beings, which they are. We contain multitudes. And also seeing Arthur as just a regular boy, Lancelot as a regular boy, loving it. And then, like I said, Once and Future is just very fast-paced, younger characters, more action. The plot is very heavy. Also, just the message. At the end of the day, both are examining people that have been othered, women, queerness, if you don't fit in, different pronouns, things like that. But this is more heavy on women, of course, and women with magic. And then Once and Future is heavy on LGBTQ plus rights, human rights, immigration rights, things like that. So I love that I picked these two books for the vlog. Definitely rounding out my Arthurian retellings / reimaginings library, and I love that for myself. I will go and finish this, and then I will update you on my final thoughts. I have finished reading Queen of Shadows, as if that Kaylee? Hush the laughing. Okay. It's a couple days later since my last update, and I have finished reading Half Sick of Shadows by Laura Sebastian. So let me give you my final thoughts of this book. Like I said, it's very different from Once and Future. Once and Future is very open about being a complete reimagining. It's sci-fi, and you know that, so I wasn't really particular about things being historically accurate because they're not going to be. This book is definitely more historical and more of a retelling. In this, Elaine, the Lady of Shalott, has agency. We're really discussing destiny versus choice, what she can and can't have, what she can and can't change, how seeing the future possibilities to be exact, how she may be able to prevent them and she may not be able to. So I really enjoyed that. I thought Laura Sebastian did a great job of using the different tenses. I believe I already mentioned that she was writing flashbacks, at least in my opinion, seamlessly into the story. I thought it was all woven together so beautifully. The past tense, the present tense, and the future tense. I really enjoyed it. But again, back to that historical aspect, this is not really historically accurate. There's a lot of words in here that really don't apply to the time period. At one point, they say the word polyamorous, which drew me out of the story a little bit, along with saying for the dressing of the time period, they mention corsets being restricted by that, which is a typical way to represent feeling trapped as a woman and the patriarchal standards being pressed upon you, though not exactly accurate. So for some readers, I know that that will really bother you when you're going into a retelling. So just so you're aware, if that does really bother you, maybe don't pick up this one because there's more modern language. Though I could look past it because I really love the characters. The character work in this I thought was so well done. Present tense, past tense, and future tense, I thought that was well done. The writing was well done. And overall, I really enjoyed it. Definitely slower paced than Once and Future, but I didn't find myself feeling bored at any moment. Every time I picked it up, I wanted to continue. The chapters are short, which made it so easy. And I was really rooting for Elaine. If you have not already read The Lady of Shalott by Lord Alfred Tennyson, I recommend you do. It won't take you long and you can access it for free on poets.org, I believe it is. I enjoy that poem. The Lady of Shalott, we know, drowns and she doesn't have agency. So I love what Laura Sebastian is doing with this story by taking that, turning it on its head and giving us a fully fleshed character who is really enmeshed in the lives of Arthur, Gwen, Lancelot, and Morgana. I loved all of the characters in this one, especially Morgana. I really enjoyed the portrayal of Morgana in this. And yeah, I was so attached to the characters that I could overlook some of the word choices, the historical inaccuracies, and also what usually grinds my gears, which is the kind of fake feminism, going back to the corsets representing being trapped, and also when we get a saying like, oh, me, I'm important, I choose me. Sometimes I'm having a hard time articulating my thoughts with that because I am a feminist. I'm always for women and women's rights, and I'm not going to hate on the stories that came before this, that I feel like that word choice was very important, especially when I was growing up. But now this book came out in 2021. I feel like we could have done something different, like we've learned over the years. And I find it cheesy at this point, right, to say, oh, I'm important, I don't know. I can't read off the exact lines because that would be a spoiler, and I try to keep my vlogs spoiler free. If I ever spoil, I do put a warning and things like that. So again, I apologize for being super vague, but I just feel like sometimes that I find cheesy and it will pull me out of the story. But again, what saved this for me is that I enjoyed the writing overall. I enjoyed the characters and I was really rooting for them. I loved the plot and how the flashbacks really, they served their purpose. They weren't just in there for no good reason. Everything came together in the end and I appreciated it. So that is why I have those cons, but the pros weigh it out, and I slept on it. I thought about it. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 stars because overall I really enjoyed my reading experience with this. That brings us to the end of the vlog where I read both of these books and I gave both of them 4 out of 5 stars. So an awesome reading vlog. I'm so happy I got to these. Both of these have been on my TBR for a few years now. So I am happy to say I have finally read them and enjoyed them. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a nice day and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.